Hello everybody, True here, bringing you another True review. Today it's Eekeemoo, Splinters of the Dark Shards on Xbox One. Now hopefully I pronounced that correct there. But what we have here is a 3D platform adventure based on the comic book creations of somebody called William Morris Julian, who I've personally never heard of. I never heard of the character, and the character itself is actually a pretty nice character, well drawn, and has potential. Now, this game is going to be priced at $3.99 in the UK, so it's a pretty low price title. I have no other regions pricing, but obviously it'll reflect in that, I reckon, about maybe $4.99, $5.99 tops in EU and US region. What we have here is Eekeemoo is like a ninja Eekeemoo who is protector of his lands, and he must set out on his journey to rescue his 3 friends who help him retrieve the Star Heart which the evil Dark Shard has stolen. So far so promising then, but that's sadly where it actually ends, as the journey through the 4 lands is not only opposed by the evil Dark Shard himself, but bland and unimaginative landscapes, linear progression, puzzles in the very, very loosest terms of the word, and a number of annoying bugs as well, which happen far, far too frequently. Now each of the 4 lands is split up into a few levels each. They're forest, fire, ice and cave. They all have real uninspiring colour palettes which make the game hard on the eyes at times. The ice level is the biggest culprit of this, with a mist, like a bluey grey mist effect, which makes it very, very hard to see anything on this level, which I appreciate. That's what you're probably trying to go for on an ice level, but there's a good way to make a blizzard kind of effect, and there's a bad way, and it just makes it look like a dull mess. It's just not very, very good at all. Now, there is a handful of enemies in the game. The biggest ones are zombies, which are pretty much generic through the entire game. They just have very slight graphical alterations to reflect each of the different zones that you actually go through. Now, none of the enemies themselves actually attack you, they all just seem to cause contact damage. The zombies themselves are the most prevalent enemy, and they just literally swarm you around you. There could be like 20-30 of them on you at any one time. There's bigger versions of the zombies as well, and there's these like squid kind of things, which again, it's all contact damage. They just float into you. Probably the only thing that does attack you, and I don't actually know its name, is this kind of one-eyed kind of cyclopsy creature, which fires lightning bolts towards the end of the very first stage. That's probably the only thing that actually physically attacks you, other than the boss characters as such. Now, I mean, going on to the boss characters, there's one at the end of each level. They do take a little bit of figuring out, you know, for about maybe 5 minutes or so to figure out how to make the boss vulnerable, but once you've done that, they are very, very easy to dispatch, and when you do dispatch them, you generally get hold of a new friend, although sometimes you may have got the friend earlier in the level. The biggest thing about these boss enemies is there's no death animation on them as such. The majority of them, when you whittle their health bar, just turn around and walk away from you, and then the loading screen just abruptly pops up onto the screen. But there's one boss in particular, I think it was the 3rd level boss. As soon as you hit the killing blow, it just boom, loading screen, and you know, nothing else at all. It's just very, very abrupt way of doing things. Now, you do play as a number of characters. You start off as Eekeemoo, the ninja Eskimo kid, and to be honest with you, he's really the only character you need to play at. He's by far the most effective in combat, makes dispatching the enemies smoothest. The other characters are Yum, a snow troll. He's a big, cumbersome character, makes the platforming sections very difficult with him because he's more weighty. His attacks are more powerful, but they're crushingly slow and just not very practical when you've got 20-30 zombies wailing around you, causing you an awful lot of damage. His special skill seems to be knocking down walls, of which there's a handful for. Some of them contain Dark Shards and some of them are for story progression. Other than that, that's really the only time you really need to switch to him, in all honesty, is when you want to smash a wall down. The second character you get is a princess. Her name escapes me at the moment, but she's a ranged character, and you can attack with her just generally, but the attacks are wild and out of control. But you can actually go into first person mode and use a crosshair to actually aim her magical attacks. Now this may sound good, it spices up the gameplay a little bit, but unfortunately the field of vision on this is very limited because it's not really designed to be a first person game. And her weaks are criminally underpowered as well, and just not effective for taking out enemies. So generally you just use her again for shooting range switches or switches that you have to use magical powers on. So again, she's a very limited character and really no need to play as her. The final character is a robot, which you get very close to the end of the game, and so close to the end of the game there's no point playing as him, to be honest with you. And say the main character, Eekeemoo, is just so powerful and so much better at taking out the enemies. There's just simply no need to play as these characters other when the game forces you to switch to them to activate a switch just for progressing the actual game. Now, turning to some nasty bugs in the game, during my 2 full playthroughs of the game itself, my character completely vanished off screen about 10-15 times. I'm not sure if I've actually captured any of it happening in the video footage I captured. If I have, I'll try and put that in there. But you literally still got control of your character and can still attack, but the character is just not there. It's like he's just being blanked out of existence. And there's a few wonky physics going on. Every now and then an enemy will hit you and your character will fly an unnatural distance back. Sometimes it even knocks you, to over a different platform, over a gap you would never be able to normally cross. That doesn't happen that too often, but it still happens every now and then, and when it does, the camera doesn't know what the hell to do and goes haywire. Now, turning to the achievements, achievement hunters will rejoice with this game. It's a very easy, very quick 1000 gamer score, probably taking about 3 hours to 4 hours. Most of them are obtained by just natural progressing through the game. There is ones for finding all the hidden Dark Shards. To be honest with you, other than 2 or 3, most of them are on the beaten path. And the ones that are hidden, and I'm doing quote marks here, saying hidden, are very easy to find because the levels are very tiny. So whilst Eekeemoo is a low price title, it's not a very inspiring title. It's just not that interesting or exciting to play, which is a crying shame really, because I think these characters have the potential to make a good game out of. The character models themselves are by far the best thing that the game has to offer. It's just that this game world that they've been placed into just doesn't work at all. So for that reason, I'm going to give Eekeemoo Splinters of the Dark Shard a 2 out of 5. Hope you enjoyed that review, guys. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and I'll catch you on the next review.